All right, I think this should be good. I think this should be back fixed here. Let's see. I'm going to post this and share this, make sure that I look human. Come on, camera is rocking right now. Good stuff. Okay. So, I encourage everybody to come on here, ask me some questions if they need to. And we are going to get this popping right now. If anybody has any questions, join on. I'm going to be talking about some good stuff today that has to do with how to, like, right when you get on the call. Okay? Join me now on Facebook Live. I mean, YouTube Live on YT Live. Okay. What the heck? What is going on with these links here? Shareable link, copy video link, JvE link, YT Live. Trying to share this to my audience, and they're giving me some weird link. They can't let me live. So if anybody wants to come on here while I'm figuring this out, I just went to the beach today, so I am not. I look like intoxicated on this camera. I'm not. For any concerned about my well-being, what leads do you use? Good stuff. I'll get right to that, my man. I'm just trying to join me now on YouTube Live. Okay, we use a bunch of different leads. So telemarketing leads. So they're generated from telemarketing from call centers, offshore call centers. We use leads from social media, YouTube, TikTok, um, all types of different. So Facebook, of course. Join me now on YT Live. Okay. And see, we use. So we use that's really it. I mean, internet and telemarketing leads. Join me on YouTube Live. Okay. Here we go. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I'll any other questions? Please just drop them on the chat here, please. I'm just putting these. I'm not like super good at figuring out this whole live thing, so I think I can put it to all my social platforms like this. I'm just going to put in my Instagram story and join me live now. Click the link. Got the link. Click. Oh. Is there a particular source that's better than the other? Yeah. I'll get into that in just a second. I'm actually writing a book that is about to click here to join. I'm actually writing a book. All right. So I'm going to go down the different lead sources, and as guys, you can ask me any questions you want. Okay, absolutely any questions you have about Final Expense telesales. More than happy to help you. So different lead types. All right. First thing is there are the best lead types a repeat customer who wants to add coverage. So the best lead type, obviously, that doesn't do anybody any good if they don't have a book of business yet. But a repeat customer who wants to add coverage, that's the best customer. Okay. So the next is an inbound call from social media or search engine optimization or a TV lead. TV, like it's really hard for an individual to set up TV leads without, I mean, you got to go buy them. But what I'd recommend doing is you can get an inbound call from YouTube or a Facebook video ad. Same exact thing as TV. They're watching a commercial, okay? And they call in right from there. So I have a video on how to do that. If anybody wants to learn how to do that, just hit me up. I'll put my email in the chat here, jve@thejve.com. I can send you the videos to watch, and then if you want me to set it up for you, I can let you know what that costs and like what that looks like. I don't charge as much as a lot of other people out there, but I'm not just going to take hours out of my day to do it for free, at this point. So, but I can get it set up to where you can have people calling in, or you can watch my videos. You can have people calling in from social media video. And then next is live transfers. So live transfer from good data. Live transfers are really, really good. We get a ton of sales on those. Telemarketing leads, telemarketing callback leads. They're leads generated by a telemarketing call center representative who calls someone that had previously requested information on life insurance in an attempt to reestablish their needs, reconfirm their buying motive, and then put that information on a spreadsheet for their agent receiving the lead to follow up with. Next is SEO, search engine optimization leads, where if you have someone searching on Google for your name and you have a blog or something, like 100%, or like start a YouTube channel or something, like, dude, if you can get someone searching online for you for insurance and finding your information, that's huge, because they're going to spend more money than the average client. Like, they're going to spend more money than someone just clicking on an ad. Okay. Next, we got outbound leads from a video advertisement, and then outbound leads from a picture ad, then direct mail, and then data. Direct mail is great for face-to-face, but telesales, I'm not a huge fan. Next, we got, keep these questions coming, guys. I love this. What's the difference between Senior Life Insurance from Georgia and Senior Life Services? Senior Life Insurance from Georgia is an IMO. I mean, not an IMO. They're an insurance carrier. They're the same thing. They're like Lincoln Heritage. You have a higher commission level, not that much higher than us starting out, 90% instead of 50. But you pay for all your leads. You pay for everything. No bonuses either, really. So our 50% plus bonuses is, I mean, people argue forever in either direction. Difference with Senior Life Insurance Company, you're going to get a lot less support, because everything is, they can't with the systems in place, because we have everybody captive, so everybody's on like the same dialer, easier to jump in on calls, stuff like that. And they buy their own leads. You have to buy your leads with them. We provide all the leads to all our agents at a lower commission percentage. They're not free leads, right? The commission percentage is lower. But for telesales, I don't know. I think it's an absolute no-brainer between the two. So how our setup is compared to the others. So that's it. We're an IMO out of Vero Beach, Florida. They are an insurance carrier out of Thomasville, Georgia. We sell multiple carriers. They're one carrier. I mean, they're a good company. I'm obviously biased to our system. Anybody who works there is biased to their system. So, potato. It really depends what you're looking for, I guess. Is there a particular company that you use for live transfers that you recommend? So we do everything in-house. It's proprietary, right? So we have we have a pretty big agency, and we're a pretty big IMO for what we do. So we run everything in-house right now. So, if you wanted to figure out how to outsource your own stuff, then you could do that. You could try to contact a call center in the Philippines or Pakistan, and you could get a virtual assistant over there. Just get them a bunch of data that they call, and try to get someone on the phone to pitch them on life insurance. And you gotta they gotta have they got to get their information right. They pitch them. Essentially, it'd be like, "Hey, John. Yep. Hey, John. This is John. I'm over here. The reason I'm reaching out is because there's a new low-cost, state-approved burial program available in your area that'll cover all your final expenses up to $30,000. I have a live agent standing by here to get you some more information on this if you're interested. Is this something that interests you?" Or you could just kind of have it like that. And you got to train the virtual assistant to do that. But the thing is, when you have live transfer, there's a lot of expense, right? Because you have to buy the data. You have to buy them a CRM seat. You have to be on top of them. You have to train them on the script, right? So, I mean, it makes sense probably to just buy them from a vendor. But don't get live transfers like right away, okay? If you're new or if you're not already consistently producing, trust me, live transfers will not be a game changer for you. What's going to be a game changer is really getting down your sales presentation on those outbound dials, okay? Cranking out outbounds to age leads and crushing age leads is really what's going to get you good. So I know it may not be what you want to hear, but the reason why I say that is because it's very easy to go broke on live transfers because they're expensive, right? So you can buy a few of them, and you're like, dang, I didn't know how to handle that. But if you can handle an outbound lead to an outbound sale to an age lead, you're gonna crush live transfers. Why do people say they will give you banking info another day? I don't have it right now. What are some good banking rebuttals? So, Ken, thank you for that. So, why do people say they'll give you banking info some other day? It's just a stall. They don't trust you, is really what it is. There's something there. There's no emotional urgency either. So, if you're getting that where someone has to stall to put it off, then usually what's happening is you're not building enough need in the sales presentation itself. So you're not asking tough questions, right? Some example of some tough questions. You say, "Hey Betty, what's your current plan look like to take care of your final expenses?" 60% of people are going to say, "I don't have anything," or "I got a couple bucks saved." Be like, "Okay, now Betty, walk me through what's it going to look like for John the day you die. Like, walk me through Johnny's day, the day you die, Betty. What's that going to look like for him?" And that's a hard hitting question, and she's going to be like, "Oh, geez, it's going to be tough." Say exactly. Now, on that day, he's going to end up at the funeral home. And one of the things that they're going to ask him is, hey, they're going to say, first off, they're going to say, "Hey, Johnny, I'm sure your mom was an amazing woman, but let's just get right to it. How are you paying for this?" So when they ask him that, Betty, where's Johnny going to get the money from? She's usually going to say, "I don't know." And you say, "Okay, are you okay with that?" She's going to say, "No." You're going to say, "Well, why not?" And she's going to tell you, "Well, because he's my son, he shouldn't have to handle it, he shouldn't have to take care of it." And you say, "Okay, well, Betty, if I can find you a program that will make sure that you can take care of this for Johnny and make sure he doesn't have to experience this and you can manage it every month financially, would you like me to help you see if you can qualify?" So that line of questioning right there is really good to build that emotional urgency because, Ken, what's happening? They don't want it bad enough. You may not be building enough rapport and trust in the presentation, but also if you're getting that, they just don't want it bad enough. They're not compelled enough. So asking those tough questions is really really going to help you get people to be like, "I should do this today." Okay, that's what's going to do it. That's how you build emotional urgency with tough questions and backing them into an emotional corner to be like, "Hey, wow." Another thing is now, okay, now after you ask that or in that line of questioning, you say, "What are the potential repercussions if you don't end up getting anything in place?" And then how would it feel for you to actually be able to take care of this for him? So you're getting them to sell themselves on the idea of having it. But a big part too could be, it's trust. Keep asking questions in here, everybody. I really, really appreciate it. Really, 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 really appreciate it. All right. What carriers? What are our top carriers? My top carriers: American Amicable, and then American Home Life, and Prosperity Life, and Gerber Life. So for any guaranteed issue, really. So American Amicable, and then it's a toss-up between Prosperity Life and American Home Life, and then Gerber. Prosperity has a really good plan called a Prime Term. It's an alternative to a guaranteed issue. Check it out, Prosperity Prime Term. What's up, Dana? How you doing? What's up? When and how do you establish a budget with client? I don't. I mean, I just always quote people as I have agents quote people as high as possible starting out. Don't spend other people's money for them. Okay. So like I don't ever recommend you having like you don't know how much money someone has. They're all going to tell you they're broke. They're all going to say they don't have any money. All right. So I would just be like, you go through, right? If someone tells you like 10 times that they can't afford anything, like if they're bringing it up multiple times throughout the presentation that they have no money and that they can't afford anything, I would just be like, "Hey, look, I get it. You've mentioned this a couple times now. You've addressed the budget. And the first time, I would just say like, yeah, look, I would never expect you to do. Don't worry, I never expect you to do anything if you can't afford it." And then, but if they bring it up a few times, I'd just be like, "Hey, look, I get it. You've mentioned this a few times now. I can tell that this is really important to you. That your financial situation is really important to you. So like at the very minimum, most of my clients get a program in place for like at the very minimum like $50 a month. Is that something that would like take food off your table? And if they're like, "Oh, $50 a month, oh my god," then yeah, obviously you can end the conversation there. But I always go through all the way to the end and quote high, the max, always the max coverage. Like my agents average higher premium per sale, I would say, than most of the industry from what I see people post for sales. You like over $100 a month is usually our average, and it's just because we quote real high, and our business persistency is good. It's really good. So like, people just because we sell Final Expense doesn't mean everyone's broke. Don't spend people's money for them, okay? You got to understand, we are working with fixed income seniors, but fixed income is like, I'm on a fixed income. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's on a fixed income for the most part. So no matter how much money they make, you're on a fixed income. So seniors have the highest concentration of wealth in America, right? Most of the money is parked with seniors. So it would only make sense that we're going to run into people who can afford these types of things. So that's how I would handle it. I don't really bring it up. You build value in it, and you quote the max, and then as you're working down on your quotes, you can let them know maybe some things they're sacrificing by not having that data input. They'll justify costs if you offer enough value, what the policy will provide. No, down to the best in the business, Dana. Come on. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's a huge compliment because she's like, whew, awesome. And, but yeah, build value, right? So people will justify cost if you build value in it. So when you find a problem that someone has, okay, and you build that emotional urgency, so they want to solve the problem, and you can let them know all the things. Like, you're a salesperson, right? So you have to make a sale sometimes, and you have to help people understand like how much money what these things will do to help them. So if you pack all this value into the policy and build that emotional urgency. Example, someone owns their house and they want to take care of their funeral. Well, just because they're leaving their kids their house, like, their kids probably don't even want their house. First of all, it's probably a liability, and the thing's probably so run down and beat up, most likely, or it's got problems. So they're like, I'm leaving my kids my house. They're like, great. The kids are like, great. I got a mortgage now and bills. If not a mortgage, I got taxes and bills now that I'm inheriting. So, like, easy way to pack in a bunch of value is like, hey, you're going to pay for your funeral. In your final arrangements, there's going to be inflation down the road, so anticipate it's going to be higher in 10, 20 years when your family's actually probably going to use this. And in addition to that, the taxes and the bills on your home will be a lot, so I'm sure you want to leave at least some money to take care of those things for your kids if they're going to sell your house or figure out what to do with it. So that's just one way, but there's a bunch of ways. Like, people always want to leave money for their grandkids, or they want to leave for their kids to pay off their student loans, or to pay off their credit card debt, or to pay down their house, or to pay off their car. Like, you can always think of ways to pack in value to a policy above and beyond just solving those immediate needs. So when you talk about those things, they understand like, wow, this is a lot of value. And you want to quote someone high because even if they can't afford that big amount, they understand that each little bit increment that you drop down as you're trying to figure out what works for them, they're sacrificing a little bit of benefit, and they're sacrificing a little bit of value in what they're getting. And it's a shock value. It's a sticker shock too. This is really big if you're quoting husband and wife too, to quote super high, because you guys, I'd love for you to drop questions in the chat. Keep dropping them. Like, anything you've run into, more than happy to help. It can be lead generation, it can be sales, it can be maybe business scaling, it can be really anything. So it doesn't even have to do with insurance. If you have a question like, what's your dog eat? Then I can recommend that for you too. But so husband and wife, I really like this with a husband and wife, when you know that the husband or the wife is going to bring up like the spouse stall, and they're going to say, I have to talk to my wife for this. I always quote super high, because if I anticipate they're going to ask for it anyway, and I quote real high, it's like, $50,000 is, $450 a month. They're like, oh my God, I got to talk to my wife about that. It's like, of course you're going to have to. And then as I work down in the negotiation, I have them be like, I like, as we're working our way down, they're like, I still got to talk to my wife. And I use the different rebuttals that we have when we use. I get to a point where I'm like, okay, if I can't close them on those, I say, okay, now, if you went to the grocery store today and you spent $450, your wife would probably not be too happy, right? They're like, oh no, definitely not. Okay. But if you went and you spent $4.50, she wouldn't even notice. You wouldn't even feel compelled to tell her, right? He's like, no. Say, okay, so what's that threshold to where like you'd have to tell her and you wouldn't have to tell her? You know what I mean? So like, where's that threshold between you have to be like, hey babe, I went to the grocery store and spent $150 today? Or would it be like 75 or 100? Like, where's that line where like it wouldn't really matter? And I've had a lot of people be like $75, $70, $80, $60. And it's like, okay, cool. So let's start with that, because you're going to have to do this anyway, right? If your wife's anything like mine, she's going to want you to take some action and not just leave the whole decision up to her. So let's get you approved for this today, because you're going to have to apply for it. You're going to have to do this at some point anyway. So let's get you qualified here today. Make sure you can go to her with some concrete numbers. You're gonna do this at some point anyway, dude. You've been doing how long? You've been looking into this in the first place. You don't want to leave your wife with anything. If you die tomorrow, at the very least, you're gonna help her situation out. Let's at least find the bare minimum here of what won't get you in trouble, and then we'll talk about increasing in the future once you guys can work on exactly what she thinks would be good financially. And I've had that work really, really well. Whereas if I just went in right off the bat and quoted 75, he'd have been like, oh, I got to talk to my wife. And I'm kind of stuck there, right? So it's the perceptual contrast. And then also, as you're working down in price, it's a concession. So people feel obligated to help you. They look at it like you helping them, right? So as you're lowering the price, it's called a concession, and you're conceding, and then they feel obligated to return that. They can. How long does it take from submitting an app when you know if they qualify? What's the application process for your typical app submitted with gathering signature? Okay, so American Amicable, really cool application process. You do a voice signature, and then you attach it to the application. So you just do a recording, right? You're on the phone with the client, you get a recording. You attach that recording to the application, and you submit. It runs a prescription check and an MIB check right on the application, and it tells you the medications that they're on that come up in the prescription check. And then you can say like, hey, the really cool thing about AMAM is like most companies are just like black or white. Like there's no gray area. It's like decline for this medication or whatever. AMAM can be like, hey, something came up with this med. Why are they taking this? Do you want to explain what's going on here? And that can really help us get approvals that normally we wouldn't get. For instance, like I had a guy one time, burn victim, and he was given insulin and gabapentin. And we all know insulin and gabapentin are indicated. Oh God, my audio is going crazy. Sorry guys, I should have fixed that before. Insulin and gabapentin are like dead giveaways for diabetic neuropathy, right? So I put in the notes like, no, he was a major burn victim, and he doesn't have diabetic neuropathy. I explained his whole situation. He was in the hospital for burns, and the insulin helps his skin grow back, and he had nerve damage, so he's on gabapentin, and they approve it. So there are certain situations there where that's pretty crucial. But 90% of the time we know on the spot. So either it's like, hey, we're going to pivot to another carrier. Prosperity, it's just a telephone interview. They tell you right on the spot if they're approved or not. Prosperity Prime Term, really good. Most of the carriers we sell, they tell us like right there on the spot if they're approved or not. So, okay, cool, Griffin. I didn't know if it sounded like really like on my thing. It was getting into the red zone to where the decibels were getting too high. Maybe we crackle on speakers. What is your cost per lead with FB ads? So, cost per lead is. I understand the importance of that focus. The more important question, Joel, is what's your cost per acquisition? Okay, so cost per acquisition is more important than cost per lead. And what's going to happen is there's an evolution of an agent where you go through and you want the most high intent lead possible, right? It's going to cost you more money, and your cost per acquisition is going to be lower. Meaning, how much money does it cost you to make a sale? Because that's really what matters, right? If I sold you a lead that was $150 a lead, but it's guaranteed every single lead that you bought, you're going to make a sale. I mean, boom, there you go. Like max out my credit card, right? But if the leads are really cheap, if a lead's $1, but it takes 1,000 leads to make a sale, you're kind of stuck because that's a lot of time, and that's not really a good return on your money. So you want to keep your cost per acquisition below $200. That's a really important threshold for you, below $200 CPA. And so as you're running your Facebook, like I used to have my Facebook ads be super high intent, and they were like 15 to 20 bucks each for leads. And then I started lowering the intent, meaning I stopped asking for as many things in the form fields. So before it was like age, height, weight, tobacco, like I wanted their like freaking biography on the lead form. And my leads were really high cost, but it was high intent if I got a hold of them. And then as I got good at it, I'm like, dude, I don't need to know all this stuff. I don't care. Just give me someone who happens to be somewhat interested in this, and I'll sell them, right? So my cost per acquisition lowered because I stopped being as picky, and I'm like, dude, just give me a name and number of someone and let me get on the phone with them. So cost per lead, I can get down to like $4 to $6 each. That's what I find. Cost per acquisition, it's hard at this point. I don't even calculate that, to be honest. We have a whole lead department that handles all that stuff, cost per acquisition, and it's under $200 though. If it wasn't, then it wouldn't make sense to run those leads. Thank you so much. What if someone knows I have to read a script and they say they want to quote immediately, or they will hang up? So that's really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover that here in just a second. Cool. So someone just said, so this is actually what I wanted this whole live to be on right here, guys. So I wanted this whole thing to be on diffusing situations. And any other questions that come up, please drop it. And Tyler, I'll answer your next question. Is the script check prior to voice recording or before? I know what you mean. It's after. The script check is after the voice recording because you have to attach the voice recording and you hit enter. So the voice recording is the permission to check the scripts. So I don't know if it's Mabor or Mabor. Mabor. I think it's Mabor, but I don't know if it's Mabor or Mabor. So if someone knows you have to read a script, first off, you have to get your script down to where it doesn't sound like you're reading it. So if it sounds like you're reading it, you haven't practiced it enough. And I know everybody on here is capable of memorizing that script. How do I know this? Because you passed your licensing exam. You memorized that whole darn Excel or ExamFX or whichever one you took, right? You memorized that entire thing. So you can memorize that script 100,000%. If you don't have it down to the point where you don't sound scripted, then that's the problem. The problem is not the client. It's you don't know the script well enough, okay? So, but diffusing the situations is huge. So I had an agent this week who got on a call. It was in training. She had her screen shared. She was on Zoom. I jumped into the call because the lady was like, I just want to quote, mail me something. And the girl's like, and the lady's like, are you a telemarketer? She's like, no. She's like, why are you calling? The girl's literally the first call she made. So like, this woman did incredible. This girl did incredible on the call. She did really, really well with the situation. But I had to jump in and help. So I jumped in and I was like, hey, ma'am. I'm like, hey, it's Justin. I work with SLS here. You just want to quote, you're saying, right? She's like, yeah, I just want to quote. I'm like, all right, cool. Absolutely no problem. I would never expect you to do anything if I didn't get you any solid information. In fact, every single person I work with gets a quote and they get something in the mail. Every one of my clients gets something in the mail, which is true, right? If they're a client, they're going to get something in the mail. And I was like, I just want to confirm some information here. And I confirmed her zip code. And I'm like, how long you live over there? And she's like, oh, this. Are you going to just send me something in the mail? And she was really like testy. And I was like, yeah, no problem, Miss Alonso. But can I just ask you, why are you yelling at me? And when I asked her why she's yelling at me, instantly she was like, oh, I'm not yelling at you. I just get calls like this all the time. So the truth came out, right? So you can call people out sometimes. You have to look for ways to diffuse that situation. I just want to quote. What that means is, they're scared. That just means I get calls like this all the time. I'm frustrated, or I'm feel like maybe you're gonna rip me off, or maybe if I give someone the time of day, I'm gonna feel obligated to buy something from them. I did it yesterday at the farmers market, right? I spent time with someone and I tried their like little honey, and they gave me a sample of honey, and I talked to him about his honey for like 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, now I need a jar of honey. I'm not gonna eat it, right? Well, I'm gonna have some of it. It was actually really good, but like same thing. So like I spent time with them, I felt obligated. So I will refrain from giving people my time because I'm going to feel obligated to buy. So you have to diffuse the situation. So with that woman, and then the lady literally ended up talking to me about she read out of the Bible for like 20 minutes. Like I was in church. It was like Sunday on a Tuesday, right? So you have to diffuse the situation, and you have to be able to connect with someone real quick. You have to be someone that they want to talk to. So that's so big. Like you have to engage someone right away in the call. And trust me, I didn't want this woman to talk about the Bible for 20 minutes. It was just like, it's one of those things when someone gets in a religion where it's like, I don't want to cut them off because then I don't want to be like, I don't care. And I'm a spiritual person. So she was vibing with it and whatever. And it was a really good call. We didn't get the sale. It was like super close. I think we will this week, but You have to diffuse that situation right away and just get them in communication with you. Get them talking about something else. We went to that. And then the way I transitioned back, she was like, you need to make Jesus a priority in your life. I'm like, you know what, ma'am? I completely agree because I feel way better after having this conversation with you here. But right now, my priority is getting you this information on this insurance program because I have a job here. And if I don't do this, I'm probably going to be in pretty big trouble. So just like right back to it. But that's the thing, dude. You got to just get them right in transition right back in. How many writing agents did you have once you cross over 20K in consistent cash month overrides? Well, how many writing? I don't even know, to be honest. I don't know. Um, how many write? I can check that data out for you, Huber, and let you know. Honestly, I don't even like track the money. I don't even like track the money. Now I track profit and I look at it because it's cool because I'm actually like generating a decent profit for myself for after like years of reinvesting pretty much everything I made. Um, and I have other things related to insurance for income sources, YouTube, and other things like e-commerce stuff like that. But just in commissions, I don't even know, dude. I just made money and put it back in. Like it wasn't that crazy. I think you can get to 20K a month in commissions net after everything. Um, maybe if you're at, I don't know, I don't even know, 350, 400, or 350 a month. I don't know. It really do. I'd have to check it out for you, man. I don't know how many writing agents I had. How do you deal mentally with emotions after putting in the dials and work but not making a sale? What do you do during sales slumps? Okay, so imagine this, right? So you are saying, hey, how do I get through the emotional hurdle of putting in dials without making a sale? I had to get through the emotional hurdle of that too, but also in building, right? I had to get through the emotional hurdle of, dude, I just spent $650 to onboard this agent and they won't even make a call, right? They got their license, they went through this whole process, they worked for 4 hours and they're like, oh, I can't do this, and they quit, right? And I'm not saying it, that sounds like super like degrading, and I don't mean it like that. But it's like, dude, like I believe in you so much. Like I want you to succeed, right? So I have my struggle with that too, right? The emotional drain of like, dude, I believe in this person. I spent $650 to get this person going. Blind faith, don't know who they are, and because I believe in people, and they give up. So I have those emotional hurdles too, and those frustrations I deal with on my end. But what I would do, Kaya, is one, make sure you're making enough dials. Okay, so if you're not calling like 200 people a day, then it's like, okay, like am I justifying my frustrations here? Okay, so if you're not calling 200 to 300 people a day, then that's not really justified to be like, oh, I haven't not made a sale yet. Okay, because you're not giving yourself enough chance. So you're not giving yourself a fair chance. You're being too hard on yourself, really is what it is. Because if you're calling 50 people a day and you haven't made a sale, you're like, man, I stink. That's not the case. That's not true, right? That's not true. I don't know if you're here at us, Kaya. I don't know if you're with us here at SLS or you're with another agency. You could reach out to your upline for support. I would listen to some of your call recordings and record your calls and make sure that you're handling the greeting properly, because and also reconfirm your goals. Like when I dealt with those frustrations for years and years and years of like, hey dude, like you're in the red this month, or you barely broke even this month on your investment. You got to stay positive. And I just kept writing down my goals. Like I write down my goals every day, multiple times a day. I think about them. They're always at the front of my mind, and that can really help you. So you want to be living in the future and know that, hey, I'm taking actions right now to create the future for myself that I need. Okay, so you just sometimes got to push through it. That's why I wear a bracelet that says, don't be a little bee, right? Like I wear that because I'm like, hey, you just got to keep pushing and push through it, and like take those actions that are going to make you successful. And it's tough. It's a tough business, Kyle. Sometimes during sales slumps, train, listen to your recordings, be like, hey, would I do something differently there? You got to always be a student of the game. Have someone else listen to your recordings. Be like, hey, I have this sales call. Someone who knows what they're doing. Be like, hey, I have this call. Can you take some time to listen to it, or even pay them? Right? I don't know if you're with us or not, but pay them. Just be like, hey, I'll give you $50 to listen to my sales call. If someone's like already really good at this. But that's the thing. You got to make sure you're putting in the right dials. You got to make sure you're applying the right data in your training. You're doing the same thing over and over again. You got to make sure that you're reaching out to people for help, and that you're just making those things, because it's literally it's I mean, you do something enough times, you're going to get good at it. Okay, so you can let me know how many dials you make a day, Kaya, how long you've been doing this for, what type of leads you call. Let me know that stuff in the chat here. What is the career path next? Dade County Local. What does the career path look like on your team, and what's a good idea first year comp with your agency system? So career path for the team, there's two paths. One, you agent, and then one is leadership, right? You can be a leader without being in leadership too, guys. So agent starts at 50% commission plus bonuses, unlimited leads. You get experienced closers jumping on your calls to help you close your sales. I bring everyone through new agent training. You're assigned a coach and a trainer, and they literally listen to your calls while you're on the call. And when you get to a certain point in the script, they jump in to close the sale. So you're essentially fronting the call, and there's no split commissions. You get paid on it. They have a small override on it, and they have a coaching team. But they're 1099 too, right? So they're going to put their time into the people who are investing time into themselves. Like, we don't have to evenly spread our time between everybody on the team, because not everybody on the team is working an even amount of time, right? So you can be an agent where you go and you just consistently sell, and we have many people who make anywhere from 80 to 120K a year, 150K a year. A lot more people could make $100,000 a year, but what happens is when you get someone who's used to making 15, 20 bucks an hour, and then they go to making 1,200 bucks a week, then they're like, dude, I'm good, I'm chilling, I don't need to make 200 grand, my life's great right now. And that's totally cool, right? That happens a lot, like a lot. So that's the agent path, where you can go be a consistent producer. You work on your own time, like whatever. I do look for a full-time commitment up front, but starting out, or you get into leadership where you learn the system, sell consistently, and then we help you grow a team. And we invest in you. We invest in your growth, unless you can invest in it too. But we invest in you. We invest in your growth, and we help you make the money that you're looking to make. And we grow your team, and you kind of just evolve from there into leadership. It's usually when you get into leadership, if you're a good producer, you're going to take a step back financially when you get. And my nose is burnt. Went to the beach today. If you're a good producer, you're going to take a step back financially when you get into leadership, but it's you're going to make more money long term. But it's a big responsibility. Like, you are there a lot more. Like, the first few years building is no joke. Like, it is. You're going to sacrifice time. You're probably going to sacrifice time with your kids or your significant other, and they're probably not going to be happy with you about it all the time, unless they're like mega supportive about it and you can really get them on the same page as you. So there's a lot of sacrifices there, but it's challenging. But I think in the long run, it's worth it, because you can invest a ton of time short term for a few years, right? I think that's short term, to have a lot of time later and money later. I'm just getting started. If you were me, would you buy aged leads or run your own Facebook ads? I really do plan on prospecting 5+ hours a day. I would buy my own leads. This is Joel. Thank you so much. I would buy aged leads to start, and then figure out how to run Facebook ads. Okay, you can use the videos on my channel. Buy aged leads. That's what I'll tell you what I did. I bought aged leads because I didn't know how to run Facebook ads. And then I learned how to run Facebook ads. I didn't buy aged leads anymore. So I would learn how to run YouTube ads. You can check my video for that. And buy some aged leads in the meantime to work, but really get down your YouTube ads and the Facebook video ads and Facebook ads to a landing page. Okay, that'll really, really help you. If you're a new agent, literally just start at SLS. If you won't make it at SLS, you won't make it buying leads and putting yourself in debt. Yeah, I mean, exactly. If you can't, it's a lot. We have so much support here. Just catching up to live. What carriers offer voice recording signatures, and any way to pull medication lists prior to submitting apps? I like being broker independent to have carrier flexibility. Okay, so I don't. What carriers offer voice recording signatures? Really, American Amicable. American Home Life's is with a text message. American Home Life Patriot, it's just a text message authorization. United Home Life's with an email. Prosperity is a voice interview, a telephone interview. Being a broker independent for carrier flexibility is good. Don't be too flexible though. Trust me, because it's good to offer your clients a bunch of other products to get them the best thing, but it's more important that you stay in business, right? There are plenty of people who are very successful in this who sell one carrier. Lincoln Heritage, Senior Life Insurance Company, they're single carrier thing. They promote just working in their system. There are plenty of people who are successful there, and they get their clients coverage. That's like the most important thing, because someone's always going to have a better price, for the most part. You don't want to spread yourself too thin. I did that when I started. I wrote too many carriers. I still owe Prosperity Life money, even though my whole downline is writing them business. I'm not paying them back. It's like, bro, you know how much money I bring you every week? It happened to me because I spread my business too thin. So, only write a few carriers. I'm telling you, it's a dangerous road to get in. You don't want to be too flexible with your carriers because you can't help your clients if you're not in business. So if you end up in debt and vector and all this stuff it's just you just want a few carriers. How to make $200,000 the first year SLS agent if possible? Yeah, you can. You can. You gotta grind it out, dude. You gotta grind that out. You gotta be working like 10, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, car dealership hours, right? I was used to banging those hours at the dealership, so insurance, it wasn't a big deal. So, yeah, you can do that. It's hard. You're gonna have to really crush it and hit all the bonuses. You want to work on hitting all the bonuses, but you can do it, 100%. You got to quote people real high. You got to quote everybody. Don't look for reasons why people won't buy it. It's like nails on a chalkboard to me. It drives me insane when people are like, this person wouldn't buy because of this, or I didn't quote him because of this. If you want to make a ton of money, you got to quote everybody you talk to. You just got to go through. Now, there are people who argue that with me. That's fine, but that's what I would do. So if you want to make 200 grand, quote every single person you talk to, as many as you can, and quote them as high as possible. What are some qualities you look for in potential future leaders? Potential future leaders, the quality. Great question. This is huge. So potential leaders, they show up without asking to do it. Potential leaders are leaders before they become in leadership. So they're people who show up every day and do what they say they're going to do without you having to tell them. Okay, so it's people who are like on all your meetings. They're putting in the work every day. They grind in silence. They're not complaining. They're not whining about stuff. Those are leaders. Emotional stability, huge. I think this is like one of the most important leadership traits in this business because, as you can see from some of these questions, it's a tough business emotionally, so it can be challenging. So you got to have a leader who has emotional stability because they have to be able to handle their emotions, and someone who shows up, and then someone who knows the sales system. They don't have to be the best at selling to be a good leader. Okay. Some of the best salespeople aren't good leaders. That's okay. And then some of the best leaders are good salespeople. But that's not the biggest thing. They just have to know the system. So consistent, this is the thing for me. If you can show up every day and you're emotionally stable and you have a good idea of the sales process, you're a leader. Boom, right there. And the leaders are also helping people before they're even in leadership. So you'll see them training agents, offering people help, shouting out in the group chats, helping people out. That's a leader. 100 dials, callbacks, 2 years. I do 15K a month, but want to do a lot more. Yeah, that's awesome, Kaya. Good for you. That's awesome. So if you're doing 15K a month, 100 dials, just increase your activity, right? Maybe try to find a way to improve your lead flow, your lead system. That's huge. Good stuff. Good for you. I heard of some agents who need to change dialing numbers weekly because of restrictions on their phone carriers. Is this an issue all agents face? Ryan, if you look at VanillaSoft, they have a good solution for this. It's a bigger upfront investment, but I would check out VanillaSoft, the CRM. They can help you with all that. Most agents will face that, but I would check out VanillaSoft. They have some great solutions for that. I've never sold before, so I don't know. It's okay. No problem. You can ask those questions. That makes sense. It's a good question. You want to be prepared. And yeah, so VanillaSoft's a good CRM for that, but everybody runs into that. When I started, I was calling off my cell phone, right? So I bought leads local to me. But it didn't even matter because my cell phone was a Massachusetts area code, and I was calling in Florida, so I just called on my phone. What are some things that SLS offers people don't realize the worth, or maybe what are you grateful for more now that you've been built here? One is integrity. So good question, Hubert. One's integrity. I think the people here, everybody sticks to their word. They care about each other. Most of the people I've met here in leadership, they the paycheck isn't what makes them excited. They make a lot of money, but the paycheck isn't what gets them happy. It's helping people grow, seeing people succeed, seeing people hit milestones in life, helping someone overcome a struggle, helping someone through a tough situation. So that's huge. If you can help someone level up, that's going to level you up, but you have to do it from the standpoint of wanting to level someone up. And it's not just I'm going to level them up so I make money. So that's huge here. And another thing I'm grateful for is just the system and how what's set up to where I don't have to handle so much now. I don't have to handle lead generation. I just worry about recruiting and training. That's it. Boom. And that's my focus. And That makes it easy. The systems and structure that in place, all the incentives too and bonuses. Like I don't have to come up with something every week to get people excited. They do it for me. So they come up with bonuses, and then I promote them in the team chats and on our Zoom calls and stuff. And we have all these contests and incentives that are huge, and so that's a big plus. How much access do we get to you versus your coaches if we join your team? So most of the access to me, so if you start, right, it's going to be with me in new agent training. I have 100 something agents. So most of after that is the coaches. The coaches are really good. Like they're really good. Like I trained them all, right? Like I'm not saying that they're really good because I trained them, but they know what I like. They're going to teach very similar things, if not the same things that I would teach. Okay, so they are like molds of me, right? I trained them and we coached them and brought them up to our system. Now, if someone is sticking out and they're doing a really good job, I pull them in and do a one-on-one for sure. But you got to be putting in the effort. I got 100 something people, right? So you got to be putting in the effort every day. You got to be standing out and for activity and in production. I mean, you don't have your production doesn't have to be super high, but if you're sitting there cranking, I'll jump in, I'll listen to your calls. And if one of my agents is watching these calls, watching this right here, and you're putting in a lot of effort, meaning you're having 5 hours or more talk time a day, or 200 plus contacts a day, or 6 presentations a day, reach out to me. 100% we can set up a one-on-one. But I can't do it with one-on-one with 100 people. It's just not even feasible with all the interviews and everything else I have to run and new agent training. It's just right. So you got to be, if you want, this is the thing, my time is very valuable. I'm not going to put my time into someone who's not investing time into the system. No, I can't. So you're 1099. You can invest your time into whatever you want. If you say, hey, I'm going to give you a full commitment, and then that doesn't happen at that point in your life, you're not able to do that, it's okay. But I'm not going to put that full commitment into you, right? So I can use my time in the same way that you have your time. So what I do is I look for commitments from people up front. And I say, hey, myself and the leadership team are going to be as invested into you as you are to these commitments. So if you can give me these commitments, then myself and the leadership team, we're in with you. But if you're like 70% of those commitments, we're going to be 70% into you, right? So yeah, good question though. I used to, when it was smaller, it was just me with everybody. But I can't now. It's just not possible. How many years are you with SLS? 3.5 years with SLS. It's August. Between everything I do insurance related, I don't even track it with SLS, honestly, on a whole thing. But the thing is, as you grow in the industry, you're going to expand, and you're probably going to have other sources of income related to insurance. So out of everything related, I've made $450,000, and it's August. So that's what I've made so far this year, 450 grand. But right, like I have stuff from YouTube, and there's other sources there. The majority of it is with SLS. But that's what my deposits are. I reinvest most of it. My profit this year I'll probably profit after all my bills, random vacations I go on, stupid stuff I buy, expensive dinners that I probably shouldn't go to. I'll probably profit $250,000. Is probably what my profit will be net, which I don't want to pay taxes on, which is why I think I'm going to move to Puerto Rico at the end of the year. Yeah. But yeah, what are the greatest lessons you've learned from the founder of SLS, Rory? Oh man, geez, the greatest lessons I've learned from Rory, man. One is just be consistent every day. Push. Just consistency. That's it. It's like the gym, dude. It's like you show up. In food, in your diet, you have your consistent diet and workout. There's no secret. I've also learned to be mindful of my income versus my expenses. Rory's on top of all that. I've learned to look at what agents to look at based on statistics, what to be concerned about. I've learned the importance of incentives. I've learned the importance of meetings. I haven't gotten a ton of sales tips from Rory, but I've learned so much from him from a leadership standpoint. And just a selfless standpoint of, hey, like he's a very successful guy, but he don't have to do what he does with us now. He probably could sell the IMO and not have to work ever again. But I've just learned being consistent, looking out for people. Who do I look for? What should I expect from agents? How do I make connections with them real quick? How often do you get a one call close? Most of our sales are one call closes. Yeah, most of our sales are one call closes. How's the follow up look like if you don't close? Oh, so follow up. So I would anticipate you're gonna have to call someone back 10 times. So I would say like 80% of your sales should be one call closes. 70 to 80%. Follow ups, you want to anticipate, hey, if you're like, I got to call this person back, I'm going to have to call them back like 10 times before I get them on the phone. So I would schedule all your follow ups for like Saturday mornings. Perfect day for follow up, or a lot of them, unless they give you a time. Otherwise, Saturday morning follow ups huge because you just bang them all out at once and you're guaranteed to get some sales. By the way, if you guys aren't calling on Saturdays, you are leaving a gold mine on like I don't know. I just got I started working Saturdays when I was always work Saturdays because I was used to it from the car business. It was a mandatory, like Saturdays and Sundays, you have to work, right? So I was just used to it. But Saturdays and Sundays, huge. Everyone answers the phone. Most people who are face to face in the field, setting appointments, they work Saturdays. They set their appointments on Saturdays because people answer the phone. How much longer do you see yourself in the business? I mean, dude, I love it. You know, if I'm this is the thing with me. I realized like I've taken a decent amount of vacations the last few months, taking weeks off here, a week off there. I am depressed if I take too much time off from work. So the money doesn't get me happy. Like it doesn't. What gets me happy are overcoming the obstacles and accomplishing the goals that lead to me having the income are what make me happy. But if I just retired and stopped working, I would be depressed. I would be majorly depressed. I couldn't do it. I would be grouchy. I would push people away from me in my life. I have to be working. I have to be accomplishing something and pushing towards it. I don't know if I'll ever stop. And I'm okay with that. I set my goals to have a higher purpose. So it's like above just the money. So it's like, how many people can I provide this opportunity to every week? If I can provide 15 people or 20 people a week with this opportunity, man, I'm like potentially changing 15. I'm giving 15 to 20 people the tools every week that they need to change their life financially. Even if one person does it, dude, awesome. Like, not everybody's in a situation where this is for them or this can change their life or whatever, and that's okay. But yeah, like I'm going to be doing this forever, man. I mean, or at least in business forever. Like I'm always going to be hustling. I have to. It feels good. It gets me. It's who I am. You know, it's like I'm obsessed with it, and that's me, and I accept that. And if someone doesn't, then I don't know. You can call me crazy. I may call them lazy, but that's neither of us are right. Right? Everybody's got different goals. Some people, their goals are to go just not do stuff work related, and that's okay. Right? That's okay. I envy you. But I love it. I love it. It's my accomplishing goals is what makes me happy. I found that. It's not a pill. I used to do that. It's not a drug. I used to do a lot of that. It's nothing else. It's accomplishing my goals and helping other people accomplish their goals. The most fulfilling thing, and that's what I mean. Like my goals now are helping other people accomplish their goals. So it sounds pretty selfish when I say it. All my goals are about other people. Like I want to weigh a certain amount. I want to be 225 pounds in lean for my girlfriend because she deserves me to look great, right? I want to onboard 20 agents a week for my leaders because I want to help them change their lives. I want 5,000 YouTube subscribers so I can provide an opportunity to people and help this many people succeed in the business. I want to read 6 books so that I can in every 3 months so that I can learn how I can help others more and provide a bigger opportunity for them. I want to write a book so I can help other people learn the stuff and find out about what we do. So, having that bigger thing is PR call center coming up. I don't know. I don't think I can qualify for the tax exemptions if I generate income in Puerto Rico. But cool. It would be cool. Hey guys, I'm gonna end this right here. I appreciate everybody coming on. I'm gonna be doing these every Sunday, so I appreciate you coming on and thank you. It means a lot, everybody.